the Nacc podcast, know the corruption, know the truth.
Does anyone think like me that we have heard about the problem of forest land encroachment from the past until now? And this is a major problem.
I have heard for a long time as well. Sometimes they encroach on that forest, sometimes they encroach on this forest. But I don't really know what the root of the problem is. And the government's operations, in addition to protection and maintenance, also use forest resources. That is for various purposes, such as for government benefits, housing, reforestation, mineral or petroleum exploration, etc. Where in fact, some areas may have hidden corruption clues. I don't think too much, do I?
It is possible. But the clear information that must be announced to the world is that according to the statistics, the forests of Thailand, which used to be abundant, have decreased significantly.
Oh my god, that's it. They even eat the forests. That's scarier than ghosts, they are cheaters.
That's right. Resource management and forest management must be managed in a balanced manner. You see, there is a very shocking piece of information because it was found that the presentation of information on wrongdoings, including various problems related to encroachment and improper use of forest land, has been ongoing. In order to solve these various problems, the Nacc has resolved to appoint a subcommittee to study and prevent improper use of state land in the case of encroachment and use of forest land.
That's it. This kind of thing must be dealt with strictly. It can be done quietly no matter what happens. But what are the recommendations of the Nacc?
The Nacc has proposed measures to prevent corruption related to improper use of state land in the case of encroachment and use of forest land. To the Cabinet, there are 4 recommendations. Provision of land for communities under the National Land Policy Committee (NLPC). Improvement of state land boundaries. Prevention and suppression of encroachment on state land. In terms of granting permission to use forest land.
Very accurate. At least the framework for implementing the recommendations in these 4 areas could be a talisman to protect against dishonest ghosts.
In fact, the framework for implementing the 4 areas that the Nacc used as recommendations is a solution to a problem that is a real problem and has been happening for a long time. To put it simply, the first button is not beautiful and is sewn messily to the fabric. We have to fix the problem by sewing it. What method can be used to make the sewing better? Or choose to use a new button, choose a more beautiful and stylish one. We can do it.
Wow, when you tell it like this, I can see the picture.
Let's analyze the problem that causes the risk of corruption in the improper use of state land. In the case of encroachment and use of forest land. The problem of land allocation for communities under the National Land Policy Committee (NLPC) found that lack of a central database system for planning national land policy, risk of checking the qualifications of landholders, failure to comply with the conditions of those who have been allocated land for use, problems with adjusting the boundaries of state land. There are many problems, namely, delays in improving the boundaries of state land, complaints in the process of improving the boundaries of state land, encroachers on state land in areas that are undergoing boundary improvement and the impact on the public, problems in preventing and suppressing encroachment on state land. This problem found that law enforcement is still unclear, lack of integration and promotion of participation from agencies in preventing corruption, and lack of providing good services on state land that has been encroached. Problems in granting permission to utilize forest land. It was found that government agencies and state agencies entered to utilize forest land before receiving permission. Criteria for requesting permission and using discretion of state officials are inappropriate. Lack of public participation. Failure to comply with the conditions of permission.
So in the past, these problems have been overlooked or those involved have neglected them. The more I listen, the more I get a headache.
What is this? If nothing is done, the matter will be quiet.
Now I want to know the suggestions that the Nacc has given. I believe it will be amazing.
Let's go, let's look at the first point, gather them all. In terms of land allocation for communities under the National Land Policy Committee (NLPC), it is recommended that Relevant government agencies should integrate to create a central database system for land management, including what will be gained from doing this, information on land ownership and utilization nationwide, both with and without title deeds, and information on all types of land utilization requests, including disclosure of such information to the public. Qualified persons should be inspected and screened transparently by linking the 13-digit national ID card database with the state welfare system database and land ownership information from relevant agencies, creating participation, and not providing benefits to capitalists in occupying state land. In addition, guidelines should be set to solve the problem of allowing nominees to hold land instead. Relevant government agencies should annually monitor changes in state land from encroachment to ensure that the land that has been granted the right to use by communities is in place, and measures should be set to solve such problems. For example, punishment, land confiscation, etc. For areas that have already been allocated land for farming, relevant agencies should have a plan or project to promote and develop careers for those allocated land, including developing areas to be able to utilize them to their full potential, in order to prevent land transfers.
What about the improvement of state land boundaries? What advice does the Nacc have?
First of all, Issue 1. The government should support and expedite the improvement of the 1/4000 scale boundary map or 1 map, in order to be able to integrate and solve the problem of state land boundaries clearly and without overlapping. And the NBTC should set an action plan and a time frame for completion. Issue 2. In improving the integrated state land boundary map, it is recommended that the public who may be affected should be informed of the procedures and listen to opinions and suggestions from all sectors. Issue 3. Consideration should be given to solving the problem of prosecuting encroachers on state land in areas where state land boundaries are being improved, including consideration of assistance and compensation if the improvement of state land boundaries affects the rights of the public. Issue 4. When the improvement of state land boundaries is completed in any province, the process of disclosing certified state land boundary maps on the internet or in applications should be carried out.
This is a suggestion that can be called an integrated solution. In the past, there were gaps, and the government must be ready to fill them in order to be as effective as possible.
Regarding the issue of preventing and suppressing encroachment on state land, the Nacc has provided recommendations that focus on 2 main issues: increasing the efficiency of law enforcement, such as the thorough inspection of state land boundaries, the development of related laws and regulations, and the addition of law enforcement measures to make offenders fearful by integrating all agencies that enforce other laws, such as the Building Control Act of 1979. Integrating and promoting participation from all sectors, such as having provinces integrate with relevant agencies to develop strategies to prevent and suppress encroachment on state land in line with the national strategy, and using the size of state land as an important indicator. The next example, I completely agree with, is that state agencies responsible for maintaining all types of state land should consider returning forest areas that are in pristine condition and handing them over to the Royal Forest Department/Department of National Parks, Wildlife and Plant Conservation and the Department of Marine and Coastal Resources to create sustainable preventive and maintenance measures. In addition, government agencies that provide public services should be prohibited from issuing house numbers, water, electricity, career promotion, etc. to encroachers. The last example is that government agencies should promote attitudes and instill awareness in officials and the public to be aware of the impacts, and create a process for public participation to report encroachment clues.
I think the suggestion on preventing and suppressing encroachment on state land is very interesting. It is thorough and detailed and creates a fair balance. If it can be implemented, I think there will be transparency in many dimensions.
Yes, Now let's listen to the advice of the Nacc on permission to use forest lands. Here are some suggestions. Encroachment on forest land of all types by government agencies and state agencies should comply with the Forestry Act. They must obtain permission before they can proceed. In the budget allocation process of government agencies and state agencies with plans and projects on forest land, they should coordinate with the granting agency in advance. A map showing the suitability of forest land use should be created by classifying different areas to be used as a guideline for government agencies to use in planning and considering granting permission to use. Disclose such information to the public. Let the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment revise and amend the permission to use all types of forest land as follows. Improve the permission criteria to be clear. Improve the consideration of permission to be considered through the committee at the provincial level. Improve the steps and participation process, aiming to make the public have a correct understanding of the project and collect opinions and possible distress. In monitoring the conditions of permission to use forest land, it is appropriate for the public sector, communities, local leaders, and local administrative organizations to participate and must disclose information on requests to use forest land, including the name of the agency/juristic person requesting to use /person in the process of requesting, purpose of request, map, lease period, and amount of area requested for public benefit.
Wow, very much. Hearing the recommendations from the Nacc committee as key man is one hope that will make the management of forest resources more balanced.
And there is even more hope if this balance in management will help reduce the problem of wrongdoing, including various problems related to encroachment and improper use of forest land, so that our forests will be abundant. It is a valuable resource for our children and grandchildren in the future. Honest, fair, professional, transparent, and verifiable. National Anti-Corruption Commission.
The Nacc podcast, Know the Corruption, Know the Truth.